Okay, take two. I have to switch to my phone. My Wi-Fi just knocked me off. Oh, goodness. Okay. Okay, take two. Here I am. It's Natalie. So welcome to those that are watching. I had to pop on my phone. I'm gonna take off my glasses. They're kind of smudgy. Hello, I'm back. I had to come on my phone. My internet just knocked me off on my computer and I didn't want to take time to reboot it. But there's some messages just coming through I wanted to share. I'm going to wait a couple minutes for some people to get on, but there's some really significant information that's coming in, and it just felt like really powerful. I wanted to hop on and share. And Sananda is with me, coming through. And Mary Magdalene and Christ energy, Christ messages. There's a lot of energy coming in. Gosh, I can't even open my eyes fully. I'm sorry. It's just really strong energy. So if you're able to, you're with me, just feel into this energy and just receive. The Mary Magdalene prophecy is reawakening. Mary Magdalene prophecy is aligning to your higher self. Oh, I think it's, to my own higher self. She's my higher self. A large part of my higher, she's my higher self. Oh my God. Okay, so I have to share with you guys. Oh my God, this is so strong. I can't even, I can stand it. It's so strong. So please receive it. Wow. Okay, so what happened today, I had my dad out for some errands, took him to the doctor's office, which didn't happen. And he had the wrong date down. And then I went to go to the grocery store to get him and myself some stuff. And it's a large grocery store with a very large parking lot. In fact, it's a garage. And I go to park and there's 150 cars. And the car that I just zoom in, I don't even look, I zoom in and I park behind. It's a white car. And the license plate says Pegasus. Okay. And I look behind me and there's a dark navy blue vehicle, almost black. I thought it was black. And it had license plate X-Men. Hi, Dana. And it was broken. It had been in a car accident. The left frontal part of the vehicle, the bumper was hanging off and it had a big dent and there was chrome sort of hanging there and it was broken. And so right in front of me is a white vehicle, license plate Pegasus. Immediately behind me, dark vehicle, almost black, navy blue, which ironically I've been wearing navy today. Been wearing navy for a few days. I love blue, any shade of blue. And it says X-Men, and X-Men, I don't remember all the details of the X-Men series. If anybody wants to share, they can. But it's, it's about that fight for survival, that fight for freedom, the fight for, truth, the fight for overcoming all of the suppression, all of what has gone wrong with humanity, all of the effed up crap in our world. It's a fight. Hi, Colette. This is a really powerful prophecy coming through. Like, I'm almost in tears right now. And so those X-Men movies, I need to refresh and watch what they're about. But it's fighting, right? bring them on camera. Oh, sorry, it was just a message from Facebook. I thought somebody typed that. And the X-Men series, it's just this fighting for humanity, this fighting for sovereignty, this fighting for freedom, this fighting for our human rights and what is right. And that's behind me, and it's a broken up vehicle, and it says X-Men, and then in front of me is a white car that says Pegasus. Now I'm going to share with you a very personal experience. I've only told maybe 1 or 2 people. 4.5 years ago, at Christmas time, the Christmas of 2017, I had a sleepover with my nieces and nephews that were in town. And my niece was actually laying in bed with me. We were all like squished, the floor, the sofa, we were everywhere. You know, the guest room, we were a full house. So one niece slept with me in my bed, and I was falling asleep, and I was in that theta state, and I had this vision, but it was more than a vision. It was an experience. It was an experience. And there was a white horse in front of me, pure white horse with wings. And it was in front of me. The back end was to me. And it turned its head and looked. It kind of looked over and kind of went like this, like, get on my back. And he had 2 huge, beautiful, humongous, beautiful, pure white wings. And I thought, oh my God, this horse is Pegasus. And I got on. And I was laying in bed falling asleep, and I could feel this animal lift me, and I could feel myself flying like it was real. It wasn't a vision. It was real. And I want to cry talking about this because this is prophecy coming true. I looked it up the next day of what that meant. And in the book of Revelation, and I haven't even had time to go look up the quote. In the book of Revelation, the X-Men were special forces. Okay, maybe. Yeah, they were fighting like tyrannical, right? I think. It's been a few years since I've watched the X-Men movies, but anyway, the meaning of Pegasus, it's in Revelation. Christ will return on the back of Pegasus when the time has come. And the time is now. The time is now. And it's coming. And I have seen, you know, of course you guys are familiar with the number 144 and the meaning of that, and the Hopi prophecy, the angel prophecy of the 144 Christ angels, the Christed ones returning. You know, we are the Christed ones. We are the ones that are here. We're embodying that now. And so I had that very real experience almost 4.5 years ago, riding on Pegasus. I had no clue what it meant. And it was the most real experience I have ever had, aside from some pretty cool astral travel experiences. It was incredible. And then I learned the next day what it meant. And then today, well, let me back up. For the last few days and last few weeks, I have seen nothing but the number 144. I've always sort of matched and synced up with it, but the last couple of days, including today, it's been boom, 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 144, 144, 144. Even something when I was buying at the store, it was on sale for like 144, which wasn't a common price at that store. It was usually like 148 or 149, you know. Anyway, so, and then yesterday, 2 people I follow, 2 posts in a row about like, it's coming, you know, the big wave of light, the event, and I don't like to call it the event because the event is always happening, but it, you know, this big shift it's about to happen. I feel it. It's coming. It's about to happen. And I sat down and I was like, oh my God, you know, I feel, you know, Christ, I feel Sananda, Yeshua, with me, and I was channeling, and they're like, the prophecies of the book of Revelation are slowly being revealed to certain people one by one. And so for me, this is the one that I guess I have privilege, that I'm grateful for, of witnessing, that it's being shown to me, the Christ will return on the back of Pegasus. And that's one. There's a lot. And then they said also the Hopi prophecies. So it's not just what's in the Bible. It's the Hopi prophecies, which is the angel warriors, the 144,000. So there's, several different cultures that prophesied this time, right? It has nothing to do with any religion. The book of Revelation was simply this capture of pure prophetic wisdom and memory keepers that put it into a book that hasn't really since been, I guess, repeated or, what have you. I'm not sure the word's trying to come through, but anyway, so this was just really powerful coming through. And that was today. And then just a little while ago, I was just on Facebook, and I'm not sure if any of you follow Mia Kofos, I think, Greek last name. And she has the Facebook page and website called Grow by Mia, and she's really amazing. She works with Tim Wilde, and she had done a Facebook Live, and I was just watching the first couple of minutes of it. And one of the things she said was she could see these light codes coming in to Earth from divine for our ascension and our awakening, but they were blocked. There was blockages. They weren't fully coming in. And so I paused the video and I kind of tuned into what's going on. And the message that came through was that humanity's afraid, and they're resistant to these light codes and to the awakening because they know it's going to force them to change. They know the higher levels of frequency of light, of activations, are going to force people to look at themselves deeper and to be a lot more honest and work with a lot more integrity. The word integrity keeps coming up. Like, I have just had immense awareness of my own integrity, my own alignment, my own honesty. Like, anytime I feel myself waver a bit, it's kind of like, whoa, I'm like acutely aware more than I've ever been before of any little wavering of my own integrity. And it's like we're being squeezed through this, little passageway, if you will. And so when I had asked, what's going on there, and I tuned in, and it's like humanity's just afraid, because when these light codes are able to come through the veil, then it's going to awaken and align and activate us and lift us up higher. And those of us that are awake, we're like, okay, great, more, Some of us are going, yeah, awesome. And some of us are kind of saying, oh God, again, because we get tired. The eye of the needle, absolutely. And so people are afraid of the change. There's so much happening in the world. There's so much fighting of light and dark, and we won't apply any labels. It's not about us and them. It's not about countries. It's not about cultures. It's not about beliefs. It's just this separation mentality is being shooken up, and we're being tested to the nth degree. And we have to pass this test for us to receive these codes, for the blocks to clear, receive the codes, for us to come into our full light body, to strengthen ourselves, and to fully align to Christ, to awaken, to fully be realized in our sovereign self, and to come together as a humanity. We have to recognize that in one another, that we're all sovereign divine beings, and we have to come together as one human race. And that's what's being tested over and over and over again. Like, if you don't understand that with, the pandemic, or with anything else going on in the world, it's just shaking up. And it's just like no different than shaking something and seeing what's going to fall out, right? It's whatever that the crap is that's in there, it's going to come out. We're getting squeezed. So for us to be able to ascend and for these prophecies to fully align and to get to where we keep praying we want to be, we got to cross this bridge of unity, this bridge of forgiveness, this bridge of love, of unconditional love, which means not selective love, but love for everybody. It doesn't mean agreement. It just means love. It just means that I can look at everybody and say, they're having that experience, they're having that experience, and they're having that experience. I'm having my experience. We're all having, just like everybody wears different clothing, some of us are all wearing the same thing, but we have different tastes. We listen to different music. And we usually don't, that's no big deal, right? But when it comes to different, bigger things, then we tend to drop into judgment. And those are patterns that we're being tested on that have to be broken down. So there's patterns and beliefs that have to dissolve and break away and be chunked for us to ascend. For us to, at least, at the very least, as light workers and humanity, to get to the next level. Or we're just going to, we know on a personal level we'll be tested over and over again until we learn that lesson. Well, humanity's going to go through the same thing. They're going to get tested over and over again, until we get it. So for us to get it and to ascend, we have to come together with compassion and grace, with a lot of willingness to be the change, a lot of willingness to look at ourselves in the mirror with a lot of integrity, and let go of the past, let go of shame, fear, resistance, let go of our blocks. Maybe we do need to feel shame briefly for what we've done in the past. Yes, actually they're saying you feel the shame to acknowledge it, and then you understand it, to have compassion, and then you release it. So it's almost like I remember when I was studying the Course of Miracles a couple years ago, and Yeshua in the Course of Miracles talked about atonement. And when you look up what that means, it's basically having sorrow and sincerity, and sincerely feeling bad for what you've done, like for a mistake. And that's not just like a little mistake, but you can't just pray to God and say, I'm so sorry, please forgive me. It needs to be felt. You need to truly feel sorrowful that, oh my gosh, I'm really sorry I did that. I know that this hurt them or that caused this. It's atonement, right? You could put shame as an emotion of feeling bad for maybe something that you did. So we need, on a human scale, a collective worldwide scale, to have that a little bit of, and I don't like the word shame, but like grief, or taking responsibility for our actions, for what we've done, whether it's to the earth itself or to one another. And this is just in general. So we obviously have to do that within ourselves, to say, oh my gosh, I screwed that up. But then you don't want to hold on to that, because that creates your own block. We have to have atonement, meaning you got to feel bad for something. And, in other words, it's not just blasé, like, oh, no big deal, I'm just gonna, ask for forgiveness and it'll be just erased, no big deal. It's like, no, God will forgive when you truly feel it comes from a sincere place, and you understand, meaning you understand what the consequences of whatever that action was, and say, okay, how can I make this better? And now our next job is to forgive ourselves, to forgive one another, to have a lot of grace and compassion for ourselves and one another, and then to share that energy, that message, share it out. The more we share it, then the more that has a ripple effect. We can have the intention to do that worldwide, but it starts in our own self, and then our circle of our world, and then you share it. It'll just get shared. It just has that effect. And so, like with this change that's happening, that me seeing that license plate Pegasus on a white car in front of me, that's where we're going, okay? And when I channeled the message with Sananda, he said, yes, this is a prophecy. You're being showed this prophecy. It's a true prophecy. This is what you're intending to do. This is the plan. This is where you're going. This is where you're going to take us. And that's coming through. So this is the intention that we have. Is it guaranteed? No. We have to work hard for it. This is the timeline we're on. This is the direction we're headed, to this purification, right? The X-Men broken up dark car behind me, that's behind us. It's in the rear view. We're going adios, leave that behind, including the story, including the pain, including, everything that goes with it, and go forward to a place of purity and abundance. And the car that this vehicle was on, it was like an Audi. It was a nice car. It was a car that I would, if you gave me a bunch of money, it was a car I would say, yeah, that's a dream car. I would go buy it. And it was nice and clean, which is amazing because right now the snow is melting and everybody's vehicles are filthy dirty. And it was a pretty clean vehicle. And so again, that's a strong message. And when I asked, is this really feels like a strong message? And they're like, oh, you bet. I said, okay. And that's where we're going. It takes a lot of work and it takes a lot of cooperation for all of us to unite. Okay. So that's our job. Those that are the 144, whether you're part of the 144 and you resonate with that, we are the 144. And it's way more than a lot of 144,000 people, light workers and angels incarnated on earth. Yes, there's 144,000 angels incarnated on earth that are way high up, master souls. We know what we're doing. We've done this before. We know how to do it. We have to trust in our soul. We have to trust in our higher self. We have to trust in our guides, in God, in the Christ energy, in love, more than Christ energy, just in love, and in humanity, in us coming together. We have to trust that the right thing is going to happen. And you have to let bygones be bygones. You got to let the broken shit, stay in the back. Let that stay in the back. And just look forward. Say, I'm letting go of that. Because when you think of those movies like X-Men and a lot of other movies out there, they're apocalyptic movies that we do not want to have happen. And I have chills as I say that. Holy crap. I don't want that to happen. I don't want doomsday, those movies to come true. I want abundance. I want purification. I want that pure white Audi in everybody's driveway around the world. That's what I want. Peace, love, humility, abundance, togetherness, forgiveness. The purification doesn't happen in a box. It happens with us walking the walk and going out there and purifying our own hearts, doing our own cleanup, and then becoming that love, becoming that pure heart with integrity and intention, and saying, I'm going to do my part, just like you would with the environment, just like you would with recycling and saying, I'm going to use a reusable bottle instead of a plastic bottle and throw it out. It's the same concept, right? So it's just, Yeshua's kind of nodding his head at me. He's like, yeah, it's the same concept. So just like you do your part with the environment, I'm going to pick up that trash. I'm going to buy reusable containers and not throw out so much plastic and harm the environment. I'm going to walk to work or, take the stairs. You do what you can for the environment because that has an impact on our Mother Earth, and we're all connected to Mother Earth. And the sooner we recognize that umbilical cord that goes between us and the earth, The sooner, and that's another message, right? The sooner that we're again gonna be able to have that future we all want to create. I mean, we all wish for it, and that's important. We have to have in our mind that vision of that pure, harmonious, beautiful future with everybody having a beautiful, white horse, stallion, or an Audi, or whatever your wish is in front of you, or in your driveway, in your life, whatever that is. The peace and the purity and the abundance will manifest itself when we come together as a whole united force of human angels. And that's all coming in through Sananda. When we understand our power in numbers and our power together, when we work with integrity, with alignment, with honesty, with truth, with these prophecies in mind, we know that they are in our hands. It's in our hands. That power is in our hands. We have a lot of outside help, but it's help, it's support, it's assistance. We are the ground crew. We're the boots on the ground. We came here for this. This is our tour that we signed up for. It's our job. It's our job. So we have to walk our talk, and with a lot of peace, love, and integrity. And we have to be honest with ourselves, with our own shadow self, our own whatever it is that we have to clean up. And come into that place of love, of acceptance of yourself. We have to love and fix our own self and our own stuff and our own whatever it is that we hold on to. We got to fix that. And the more we heal ourselves, and the more we look in the mirror, or look and open up our closet and bring everything out and put light in the closet, the more we're like, oh yeah, I've got that too. I've got that too. The less likely we are to be judging of others, or to just toss everything aside and say, well, that's on them, Well, yes, everybody has to be responsible for themselves. Somebody's not just gonna magically fix you or forgive you and everything is fine. There's no magic wands in this. The magic wand is your heart. The magic wand is your integrity. The magic wand is you speaking your truth. The magic wand is you walking the talk. Every day, every moment of your life. And the more we anchor that in, the more we heal our ancestor line, we heal ourselves, we heal the world around us. And it's just one by one by one. It's like that drop of pink dye going into a glass of water. The whole bit of water will turn pink. Be the drop of pink dye, or of pink for the heart. I say pink for soft love, right? It's that soft love, the love energy. Be that light in your neighborhood. Be the groundskeeper. I'm hearing the word groundskeeper. Be the groundskeeper for your space in where you live. There's a reason why we all live far away from each other. Most of us. I'm always connecting with people I really connect strong to, and it's, gosh darn it, why do you live halfway across the world, or, in another country, or across the country? Because we are connected in our heart, in the upper realms, in our telepathy. We are connected, and we understand that. So we are each these anchors of light, like a grid. We form a grid around the world. Because this ascension happens when we do our work, and when we show up, and when we stand united, when we teach those that are awakening. But there's a lot of people that are awakening to the truth side of things, right? With everything happening with like COVID and stuff like that, right? And other things. I don't want to isolate that, but people are awakening to the truther side of stuff, not necessarily understanding energetically or spiritually or prophetically what is actually occurring. They don't know that, right? They're awakening, but they're at that baby stage of awakening. But they're also, have a little bit of this idea, or I don't like the word, but attitude in terms of, they're the sleepers and we're awake, like, wake up, you. And then they're giving insults to those that don't know any better. And my message to this newly awakened group that is aligning with love, and they're aligning with unity, and that's perfect. That's what we want. But it's just a growth stage, right? It's a growth stage. So to them, we honor them and we say thank you for awakening and to coming into this light. Thank you. And then we also share that beyond this awakening of truth is the awakening to unconditional love, to Christ consciousness, which is unconditional love, to forgiveness, to acceptance of everybody, no matter, your stand, and to just rise above. Like, there's this meme I remember seeing, and I wish I could find it. If anybody knows it, then send it to me. But it was a meme I remember seeing a couple years ago, and it was the same image, and it had 3 layers. And on the first layer, it was like the normal world, the matrix world. It's like, everybody's just in this ignorant bliss state, right? It's like, oh, this world is great, everything is fine and dandy, and you're just blissfully going through life, ignorance is bliss sort of thing, right? And that's just the normal state that we've mostly all been in most of our lives. We all have, because that was the process of just experiencing our world as it is shown to us. As shown to us is the word coming through. And then you start to wake up, and then it's like there's this fence, and this guy peeks his head over the fence. And it's the same image, and it's black and white. There's like smoke, and there's fire, and it's hellfire, brimstone. The end of the world, apocalyptic, buildings like burning and breaking down, and it's this destructive. And I got chills talking about this, and that's kind of where we're at right now. Then you go even higher, and the same scene, 3rd level up, is perfect. It's that harmony, healed, flowers, green grass, butterflies and birds sort of scene, right? It's the angelic level of things, the divine level of things. That's the ultimate path to where we're going. What is the 5D level of things? The 5D level of things is the level of ascension. It's the level of unconditional love. It's the energy of unconditional love, where we begin to emulate light. We begin to emulate divine frequency. We begin to emulate Christ, which again means light, right? We begin to emulate this pure connection to source, and knowing we are an extension of source, that we are divine, that we are, star seeds and, part of God. And then there's that acceptance of this is how it is. Beyond the programming, beyond the institutions, beyond any set rules or indoctrination, whether that is through science or a specific, dogma or whatever it is, beyond all boxes, beyond all limiting beliefs, which is the small world that we're coming out of. So we're coming out of this small world, from the little world of the little self of, oh, this is just me, right? This is my little world. It's kind of like, imagine living your whole life just in one house or in one city and never traveling or never taking a geography class and never knowing there's a whole world out there, right? It's kind of what it's like. So we need to hold space for those at all levels and not be judgmental and be compassionate and be patient. And we can just, our energy, our love, our light alone can be enough to sort of plant that seed or spark them to their awakening. And we also have to remember that everybody has their timeline and path of their awakening and ascension, and not everybody is intending on doing that or will be ready to. Some won't be ready to, even if they want to, but they're not getting it. They're not doing their lessons. And then some are just newer souls, or they're just like, nah, I want to keep going. I'm not ready to ascend. I want to keep learning my lessons. I want to keep experiencing the 3D world because they haven't had enough time yet. So when we look at humanity, think of them as being from kindergarten to, I don't know, a master's level program. You know, for the few of us that are here that are ascended master, you know, level. And instead of seeing a 49-year-old person or a 70-year-old person or a 35-year-old person and they have XYZ job description, forget about that. Look at them on a soul level and see them being from kindergarten on up. And when you look at, say, a kindergartner and they come in, do you expect them to know geography or to be perfectly behaved? Or, you know, your expectations of a kindergartner, of a 5-year-old, are far different than somebody in 12th grade, right? So we just need to recognize where people are at and communicate with them with kindness and patience and integrity at whatever level they're at. And then we can show them the way. We can open a door and say, hey, look over here. What about this thought? What about that thought? You know, have you thought of it this way? Don't force things. Don't force beliefs. Don't say, well, you're just this or you're just that. You can't do that. I love everybody in my family regardless. And they're all in different levels. You know, all with different perspectives. Doesn't matter. That's their experience. Let them have it. I love them. They're my family. Same with everybody here. All of you, even among light workers, we all have slightly different views and perspectives. Awesome. That adds flavor, doesn't it? I mean, it'd be boring if we were all had the same thing. We're meant to be unique. And the whole point is, can we love one another despite differences? I don't even like that word despite, but that's what's coming through. Despite our differences. Can we love and accept one another? Can we love a neighbor or a friend or even a fellow light worker who's going through a hard time or a dark time and say, well, let's just give them more love. You know, maybe they're having a bad day or going through a dark night of the soul or something, right? Give them love. Help them. Help out the world. If you see something happening on the news or around the world, or which we know there's a lot, then just pick a place and send love to it. Put them in a bubble of violet flame for transmutation and ask the angels to help. And violet flame for transmutation and violet flame for transmutation and emerald green light for healing is what the world is needing, is what they're saying. And golden ray for Christ consciousness. All right, so there you go, guys. That's your assignment. Violet flame, so we can work with violet flame energy to share around the world, around your house, your city, yourself. You can call in Saint Germain or Archangel Zadkiel or any of the violet flame holders and just ask them, you know, Archangel Zadkiel, Saint Germain, can you please, you know, share with me your violet flame light and energy so that I may transmute all of my own fear, anger, distortion, anything that is not perfectly aligned to the light or to Christ, and help me transmute that out. And then, you know, Saint Germain, Archangel Zadkiel, could you please also help send this violet flame energy throughout the world or around my city or through my home and clear the energy of my home or whatever it is, you know, and do that. And then we can ask Archangel Raphael to help with the emerald green plasma light. And we can, you know, ask Jesus, Christ, Yeshua, Sananda, the Christ energy to bring in the golden ray, which is the Christed ray energy. to help raise Christ consciousness. And we can send this down through, hey, Deborah, sorry I haven't gotten back to you yet. It's been a busy day. We can send this golden energy through the Christ consciousness grid, and that's the World Wide Web energetically, right? And that's how I see the grid. It's the World Wide Web, energetically speaking. And that's how it helps us communicate. So we can drop messages of love. We can put that, fill that Christ grid up with, you know, give it a boost, keep boosting it, keep boosting, keep flooding it, keep flooding it, keep flooding it. Just twice a day, flood, flood, flood. You know, they reminded me this morning, like, do your planetary work, you know, 20, 30 minutes twice a day is what we need, is what they told me. You know, for what it is for you, I don't know. But for me, they asked me this morning, you know, please do about 30 minutes twice a day of your planetary work. So it's whatever is in alignment with you and what feels right and what you have time for. But whether it's prayers or working with the angels or dragons or, you know, just love with the different rays of light, do what you can do in your neighborhood, in wherever, on an energetic scale. And of course, in a personal scale, working on your own stuff and showing up and working in the community, helping, giving back, doing more for others, more generosity, taking time to work with the elderly, taking time to work with the neighborhood, you know, just picking up, lending a hand, because the new world, new earth community is going to be one of harmony. It's going to be one of everybody's coming together to do it all. You know, there's no walking by the trash and saying, oh, well, you know, I'm not the guy that picks it up, pick it up, you know. And I know you guys probably already know this. But it's this community of sharing, of giving, of receiving, of cooperation. So we do that little bit by little bit in our little world that we live in. You know, and it doesn't just occur, you know, within the confines of your home or, you know, in whatever way. Like we just do it. Like, so if there's a need, then you know, can offer whatever it is you have to offer. So that's, you know, working its way through into my energy too. Just to be showing up more, giving more, not giving more, showing up more. In this way, this is how I show up, either for collectively for the planetary work or for just bringing this guidance through for everybody here. But yeah, let me see what else there is. That prophecy message. Oh, back to, that's right. Okay. So I watched that video briefly, like literally 3 minutes in, 4 minutes in, of Mia with Grow with Mia. And she was saying, and I'm not that visual of a person. My strength is my hearing, my visual. I don't really tune in a lot to it. I see, but I'm not that aware of what I see. That sounds kind of weird. But she was just saying that these codes were coming in and there was like the veil, they just couldn't get through. And so when I asked, well, how do I help? You know, what do we do? And basically, again, it was humanity's afraid, and that includes us, of ascension, because it forces us to change. So we have to be willing to change. We have to let go of attachments. We have to let go of beliefs, old patterns, negativity, fear, loss. We have to know that we're going to be okay with what we've got. We got to be willing to move forward. We got to let go of the resistance of letting go of our old small self and stepping into our higher self. So we can energetically help. For those of you that are healers or just with your intention, we can help by just sending out energy, like I mentioned earlier, but just sending out energy to help humanity heal so they feel safe. We can send the energy of safety, of courage, of releasing resistance to change, to help them understand this is a lesson of coming together, not separation, a lesson of love and forgiveness, not judgment and, us and them. The more we can recognize that, the sooner those blocks in the energy field above Earth are gonna open up. They're showing me opening up, and then more codes can come in. When more codes can come in, more activations, then we ascend. Then it happens, right? So it's like we're holding on for dear life to what was, to the old way. And I've been doing this within myself. I need a sip of water. I've been doing this within myself tremendously for a long time, for too long. And it's just, I've been very attached to my human self and love for myself, or, my, the person I was growing up, the Natalie that's always been, and everything that's associated with my family, right? Including gifts and things or pieces of furniture that I have inherited from them or have been gifted to me. I've become this is the old me. Well, I started by shifting my energy by getting all of my photo albums down into the office, and all of my old nursing, a lot of my old nursing, notebooks and stuff, and either tossing some stuff or moving it out of here. So it's down in the basement. It's on another bookshelf, but it's just energetically not here. So energetically, what I have here is much more spiritually aligned with the new Natalie, with the new me, with the higher self me on this spiritual path. It's still me. It's just Natalie 2.0, right? Bless you. Heard my twin sneeze. It's Natalie 2.0. So we love who we are and who we've always been. It's not a rejection of self. It is a coming to terms with the next level and phase of life, right? It's kind of like going through puberty, It's like, okay, well, it's going to happen, You're going to grow up. The hormones are going to change. You're going to grow hair in different places, and puberty's going to happen. That's kind of what this is like, right? You got to let it just happen. You're still the same person at the age of 20 that you were when you were 10, right? You've gone through puberty. Your voice has changed and your body has changed. You've just grown up. And so that's what we also have to do, is we got to let ourselves grow up. And that's what I've had to do too. And just let myself become higher self, which isn't easy, because I remember at the beginning of my ascension, learning about my higher self. I'm like, oh, Mary Magdalene is this huge part of your higher self, and you carry a lot of her energy. And then I had person after person after person telling me, it's like, oh, you're Mary Magdalene, or you've got her energy. And I'm like, yes, thank you. Thank you. With humble and gratitude, thank you. And I bow my head, because it's not ego, it's just whatever. But then I found myself rejecting this human self and attaching to that, ooh, wow, this sparkly, beautiful, powerful, the Magdalene energy, or other aspects that were coming through that I carry. And a lot of us carry these energies, right? I'm not the only one. The Isis energy, or the Lady Nada energy, and you just sort of attach to it, and you're like, woohoo. And then it's like, oh, now I learned all this stuff, and I got to go back down and descend into the human self and integrate it into my human self, but bring this light and this love and this wisdom and energy, and then try to work it out. So now you got two selves trying to battle it out and come together, and that's where I've been. But that's coming, this unity within myself. And so that's almost this little me, little old me, that maybe doesn't know any better. And then the grown up me, that's the ascended, all loving, all knowing me, the higher self me, which all of our higher selves is the all loving, all knowing. So, and that's what the world is happening to, right? We're going from the unawake, doesn't know any better, misbehaving, temper tantrum, right? Temper tantrum, kicking up a fight, and, resistance, and I want control, and I want it my way. Going through the teen years of oh no, this is how I want it. And I've been doing this myself because we're afraid. We're afraid. And then we come to terms with our truth. And it's time to say goodbye to that old world, to your old self, to the little old me. And it is little old me, because that's what they're saying. It's little old me. The little me and the old me, little old me. And we have to do that and align to our higher self and step into higher self, because it's the higher self energy that is the unconditional, loving, all-knowing, hold light, and has that connection to God, to source, to the upper realm, to divine. So we have to have that for this ascension. So if you will, imagine all of us being these little points around the globe. And imagine when we step into our higher self and become that higher self, and we bring that 5D or higher, whatever vibration you're at, energy down, okay? Like myself included. And a lot of us are at a higher, some of us are at a higher level than 5D. Some of us are at 7, 9, 8, usually I'm at a 9. Right now, they're saying I'm at a 9. Cool. At a 9D level. So I bring this high energy down and I share it with you guys, and you're receiving, you guys are all the benefit of receiving that. I'm this conduit. And whatever vibration you're at, think of yourself as this antenna. You're up here, like right now I'm clutching onto this bolt of light, it seems like, it's like charging me up. This energy, and it's like, imagine this is literally the veil, and this is the upper, and this is, the human physical self. And then you transmit that out or down into the grid, and then that gets shared with the collective. So imagine we're all these transducers all around the globe with, I've got this 5D and above, divine source energy that I'm grabbing onto up here. And then you're grounding that into earth and you're sharing that. So even if there's, lots of people still in that 3D energy, doesn't matter. It takes one light bulb, really bright light bulb, to light up a room. Right? So you can be that light bulb to light up the room. I'm hearing higher self activations. So maybe that's what we're doing. Some higher self activations. So, yeah, be that conduit. Be that conduit. Be that person. Be the person in your life, in your family, in your home, in your work, in your community, or for the whole city, and send out that love. Be that person that is that hope, the one that says, no, we're here to change. We're here not to do things the old way. I'm glad it's breaking down. I'm thankful. I'm resourceful. I've got God on my side. I've got angels on my side. I've got strength and power and integrity within me. I know this because I've done this before. There's no shame in anything. There's no shame in letting go. There's no shame in moving on. There's no shame in change. And we just move on and we move up. We advance. But we have to move on. Just like that white Pegasus car was right in front of me, with the broken down dark vehicle behind me. The X-Men. We don't want the world of X-Men. We don't want the world of apocalyptic realities that all these movies are trying to program us to. Be aware of that programming. When we connect that hand up there, up to source, up to higher life. Ooh, the word life came through instead of higher light. Never a mistake there. When we connect to that higher life power, and we're that transducer into the earth and our neighborhood, we make that change. Don't negate the power that you hold by your own hate or your own anger or your own, negativity or, poor attitude or lack of integrity. I'm being kind of harsh here, but it is what it is, right? I've had it. We're human. We get angry, we get triggered, we get upset, we get hurt. We have wounds. Sometimes we're clearing them collectively. Sometimes we're clearing them for our ancestral line. Sometimes it's stuff from our past life. Sometimes it's just stuff that our inner child or our teen self or our shadow is just saying, I need to be healed. So when stuff gets triggered, yes, we're here to hold this light and be this anchor, but now what's coming through is when you get triggered, resistant, anger, fear, and you go into little me, you're having the temper tantrum, you've gone from being teacher to student, do a self-check, take a time out, take a break. Where was it that I'm hurting? What part of me is screaming at me? What part of me is trying to tell me something? What part of me is in self-denial? Or what part of me is trying to get my attention or needs more love? What part of me is wounded? What part of me has to come to terms with where things are going is what's coming through. Michael is telling me that. What part of me needs to come to terms with where things are going? That takes a lot of raw honesty and compassion and integrity. I don't want to change that much. I want to change, but I don't want to change in terms of the stability of like my home or my relationship. I love what I have right now. It's not very stable at the moment. I'm trying to do the best I can to earn the money that I need to stay where I am. And keep fighting with the thought of, do I need to go back to being a nurse? I don't want to do that because that feels so backwards. It feels like reconnecting to the old. I don't want to do that. I want to keep pushing forward with what I've got, with helping you and doing what I came here for on a soul level. This is all I want to do, is to help people and to be the channel and the healer and a teacher with Michael and Sananda. And I got all these beautiful pictures around me here. I can show you of my office, my artwork of higher self paintings, and like it's Mary Magdalene on the dragon, Lady Nada. Let's see. Sorry. That's Yeshua painting I had, and Lakshmi, and I've got more. Anyway, I have all this beautiful, and I have more pictures too. We don't have them all up. I'm surrounded by all this energy, this is what I came here to do, and it's the only thing I want to do. I only want to look forward. Like that white car with Pegasus was in front of me. Higher self has been kicking ass for me. Yeah, me too. Because we're a lot of resistance. I've had a lot of resistance. And some of it is like, for me, part of my path is to step into my high priestess energy. And I've had, anybody that's familiar with the priestess path, the Magdalene path, Isis, Kuan Yin, any of that energy, because they're all aspects that I work with. I've had a lot of resistance to that because I've never really identified as this goddessy kind of person, even though I am, and I've had a lot of resistance because my inner child self loves starseed stuff, and I work with the Arcturians, and I channel the Arcturians and with the Pleiadians. So I have this inner child that is like, oh, I just want to do starseed. It's fun, work with the Arcturians and the Pleiadians, and, or with the, the archangels. And, I work a lot with Michael and Metatron and Majority and Raphael and that too, and others. But, I'm just like fighting, like, oh, this is what I want to do. They're like, no, the divine feminine, that's your thing. And it's really both. So my higher self and I came to an agreement, and, of doing kind of a little bit of both, a dual path of the ascended master. I call it AAA, which it's funny. If you know her, Susan Amara, she has a group, a Facebook group, private group called it's AAA. And it's very similar. It's Archangel, Ascended Master, Arcturian. The three primary energies I work with, plus the goddess, divine feminine, the Magdalene, Sophia, Lakshmi, Kuan Yin, Lady Nada, like Isis, all of the priestess, divine feminine, energy. So I've been fighting, that. But that's part of my truth. That's my soul. And so I've just been redefining myself and trying to come to terms. So I've been fighting becoming the higher self, because a higher self is starseed, angelic, but it's also this deity energy of, this Sophia energy. And it's really big energy, and it's a lot of responsibility, and it is for all of us. Our higher selves are bigger than life with a lot of responsibility. And it's like, whoa, you want me to do what? Be responsible for what? Yeah. You're a warrior, remember? You're one of the 144. That prophecy, me seeing all these 144 numbers and that Pegasus car in front of me, again, it's just this reminder of this is happening, right? But we gotta do our inner work and step into the bigger me, the bigger higher self, the bigger self, and let the old go. Not completely. No, that didn't feel right. Let go of what holds you back. Let go of anything that's a limited belief and let go of failures, mistakes too, right? It's like, oh man, I screwed that up. Let it go. Try again. Learn it in a different way, maybe. But just keep going and just align with love, align with Christ, align with your higher self. Let your guides instruct you. Let them, right? Let them, which means let go of that control too. We can have a limited amount of control in our human lives and in maybe the physical stuff and that we have to do, that are on a more human level. But even then, the higher, I'm learning the higher self is there to help you with all kinds of things. So let that higher self in. And the more we can become that higher self, the more we become God-like, goddess-like, angelic-like, starseed self, right? The more we become that person that we came here to be, the more we can be that leader in our community, our family, our life, to take charge and to, because when shit hits the fan, they're going to need help, and we need to be not still tripping over ourselves, but standing firm and rooted and grounded. So the more rooted and grounded you are, then the better you're going to withstand whatever wind blows and waves and everything, whatever wind that blows. The word wind, okay, is coming through. Whatever wind that blows, then you'll be able to stand there and be the person standing through all of it, right? So don't join in with, like, even among light workers, right? Don't like join the bandwagon of that group or follow, right? Don't do that. Do you. What is you? What is your path? What is your truth? What is your higher self? What is your mission? What are you able, what can you do today? What do you have to clear out of the way so you can do what you know you're meant to do? So if it's like, oh, I just opened my closet and I got honest with myself and I sat down and I talked to my inner child and my shadow came out and said, whoa, there was all this dirt that came out. Okay, sit there and say, okay, shadow, what do I got to do? Because that dirt or that child temper tantrum or the not being seen heard or the abandonment wound or whatever the wounds are, they're going to get in the way. So you got to clean the closet up and get rid of all that stuff, or just love it, just have compassion, not necessarily get rid of it. It's like, okay, none of us are perfect by any means, right? Surrender is key. Yeah, definitely. I've seen 144 multiple times a day. Lately, it's been a lot more for me, I know personally. But yeah, it's like we have to get out of our own way, but it also means, okay, whatever's coming up, sit with it, acknowledge it. When you acknowledge it and sit with it and not just push it aside, or, when you can feel the pain of it or the anger of it or the grief, and then bring love into that and compassion, forgiveness, then we can release that and become love and become our higher self. That's how you heal. You can't just walk away from it, and you can't just say, oh, I'll just put on, some mantras or some, sound healing music, or myself out of it. You still have to acknowledge that which is festering in the wound. You still have to acknowledge that which is creating the fear or the block, or preventing you from becoming the higher self, preventing you from stepping into your power, right? The more we do that, the more we can help the world, the sooner this whole ascension process, the more we can do that ourselves and help those around us, that helps to raise the frequency. Because when we do that, then we can bring in more light. Then it helps to raise up the frequency of everyone, of the world, especially when you put that in the grid. And the more of us that do our own stuff, then there just becomes, brighter light. It's like imagining yourself going from 100 watt to a 300 watt light bulb when you do that. And it's like, and if every light worker just says, okay, or every person does that, I'm going to acknowledge my own stuff and clean it up, and then let more light in, let more divine in, let more Christ in, let more, purity in, let the higher self in, let that in, let more love in. Then we shine brighter, and the more of us that are shining brighter, then it's that overwhelming feeling of divine love and joy that we're all meant to have, is what Yeshua is telling me. That divine love, light, and joy that we're all meant to have. We're all meant to have this here and now in this lifetime. This is it. This is the prophecy. This is why I came on. The message from Pegasus. I'll have to look it up in the Bible, where it is. The 144, of course, a prophecy that's mentioned in the Bible and Revelation a few times. So is Pegasus. I'll have to look that up, of what it says. But I just remember it saying specifically Christ will return on the back of Pegasus. But we can't pass the buck either, right? It's taking responsibility for our own mistakes and our own pathway, and stepping into mission. We've lived our own life doing our own thing up until this time, and now it's like, okay, now I'm here for God. This is why I came. It's a mission. And if we want that change, I have a little piece of wood here, a little block here. I bought it years ago. It says, be the change you wish to see in the world. I don't know if that's backwards, because I'm on my phone, so it's probably backwards. It says, be the change you wish to see in the world. And it just sits on my bookshelf back here. I'll take a picture of it later. But be the change you wish to see in the world. So, we can't sit in glass houses and throw stones. And you guys know that. So, myself included, again, we're human. It's like, oh, self-check, I just caught myself judging. Oh, forgive it, let it go, move on, right? And that's how it works. But that's integrity. And it's owning up, acknowledging your imperfection, and when you've not had integrity or when you've made mistakes. and learning those lessons, and then stepping into that truth, and with love and compassion and grace and integrity, and then letting yourself be led by source, by your higher self. And hey, Aaron, and letting, God guide you, letting source, the angels, your higher self, creator, letting God guide you, for us to be able to change, and just asking, how can I be of service? How can I be a change maker? How can I help restore this world? What can I do? And imagine if more people said that, and more people are. And the environment movement is a huge, beautiful example of that, because we see so much improvement with the environment, with so many movements and projects that are really, it's mainstream now, right? Just whether it's recycling or cleaning up the oceans, or, rules with dumping and drainage and stuff like that. We have a long way to go, but we're making headway. So it's the same thing with energy and ascension, and just loving one another, and just sharing this love with everybody. Just sharing it, and standing in your own sovereignty and power of your own truth, of who you are in your higher self, because you're going to be tested, and it's easy to fall back in the little old me, or into victimhood, or into, failure or fear of, God, I got to do this. And, and then you jump timelines and you go to your lower timeline. You're like, oh shit, I don't want that. It doesn't feel good. When it doesn't feel good, then you're out of alignment. When you're in alignment, it feels really good. And there's more of a feeling of peace and acceptance and unity with yourself when you're in alignment with your higher self, and with your pathway, and with light. It's much easier to be that change maker, and to be taken seriously, to be the representative in your circle, whatever that circle is, of being that change maker, of being that light in your community. So just feeling to see if Sananda has anything else. No. I'm hearing divine intervention will help many people restore their codes. Their codes of their true identity. Okay. So perhaps, does that mean like angels will help them connect to the codes of their true human self and their true soul identity, is what they're telling me. So, okay, so energetically speaking, things like fear, programming, beliefs, blocks, energy blocks, even the environment, even things that distort our energy, whether it's things like EMF or electronics, and just the energy pollution, I call it. There's a lot of things that can create energy blocks to where we're not able to tune into our true self, or read the codes in our field. Our aura carries codes of who we are. The more we purify our light body, and we can ask the angels to, please purify my light body. I do that several times a day. and clear our energy, remove our blocks, and clear our codes, then that helps you align with your true self. When I start to feel like icky in my energy and tight, blocked, anxious, distorted, it's like crossed wires that get it's like having a bunch of, strings, and they're kind of like all doing this. And then I'll just breathe and recenter myself and slow down. And then I'll just ask, my higher self or angels, please clear my energy, please clear my codes, please purify my light body with diamond white light from source. And so I'll do that, as often as I need. And, asking, obviously they're protecting me. And that I kind of feel, oh, okay. It's like whatever, it's kind of like a child. It feels almost like energetically, it feels like there's a child tugging on your shirt going like this, right? That's what it feels like energetically. And it's like, oh, no, let go, and then you're like, okay, I feel good. So we can do that, and we can bring in more light, and then we can start to tune into that authentic, aligned self, that true self, because now we've cleared the energy, we've cleared any distortions, we've cleared blocks, we've cleared our codes, we've purified that light body. So it's like now you can see yourself, energetically speaking, much clearer, much more aligned. And you're not feeling into something that is false, or not false, but distorted, or partly false. It can be, especially if there's distortions that are coming from the environment, from a million different, places where they can come from, including our own thoughts, beliefs, fears, and resistance. So we have to make sure that we 0 point, those things as well. What else am I working on? Let me just see if there's anything else they want to share. Oh, that sounds like they're done. They're like, go help make dinner. Okay. All right. So it sounds like that's it. See if there's any other messages in there. Surrender is coming at big time. Have to feel it to heal it. No other way. That's exactly right, Amanda. I don't see any other comments on here. So I guess that's it for comments. Okay, you guys, if you popped in halfway through, go back to the beginning so you can hear the message about Pegasus and my incredible experience today, and this angelic prophecy that was coming through. So go back to the beginning and watch it. I'll probably upload this to my YouTube as well. And please, yeah, and if you're watching this on YouTube, on my Magdalene's Wish YouTube, then please like and subscribe. And if you feel inclined, you can share it with others just to help support my channel, so I'm able to support more people. And my team is able to support more people through the work that I'm here to do. And I'm very guided to say that. So thank you guys for being here. Watch it back to the beginning again so you can see the beginning. And I love you. Have a beautiful, blessed evening. Much love. And my Magdalene energy sends you well wishes is what I'm hearing. So Mary Magdalene sending well wishes to everybody. So there you go. So Mary Magdalene sends her love and integrity for all. Yeah. Thank you. Michael's saying the same thing. So they're both here saying yes. Love to all. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Love you. Bye.